be on Twitch. Okay, cool.
We are.
Yeah.
We're live
So
on Twitch.
all the swears you want,
Yeah,
Bring
all
it
that.
on.
The more,
yeah.
the merrier, right?
Yeah.
That's how we roll. This is a parenting
F-word.
podcast, right? F words and everything. Anyway, hey there. Welcome to Geeks with Kids, the geeky podcast from a parenting point of view. I'm Eric, and joining me as always are my incomparable hosts, David, Marcus, Hawk, and Brent. Today, we're joined by two very special people, Andrew Rosas and Drew Saplin. You know them from their work writing and directing various projects at Rooster Teeth, or from their podcast, The Most, where they explore the extremes of their lives and the lives of their friends through comical discussion and thoughtful inquiries. They're currently on a glorious podcast tour, appearing on 19 podcasts from last count, and, that's including this lovely one. Welcome to the show, Andrew and Drew.
Oh,
Hey, thank you for having us. What a treat.
Eric, you sent us a form before any of this started, and you very politely were like, "Can you fill this out?" And then we didn't do that at all. And then, so I very much appreciate you filling all of that out for us on our behalf and being so sweet about it, because we're assholes.
Oh, no.
Oh, you fit right in then.
I just wanted to make sure you guys got the love that you deserve from people watching.
Here's the real truth. I think Andrew and I both are a bit of we're kind of Luddites when it comes to tech, and all the way to the point of I don't have Twitter notifications enabled on my phone at all. And so anytime I want to see a tweet or DM, I have to go to twitter.com. I don't have Twitter on my phone. I have to go to twitter.com and then go to the messages, and then I get excited. It's a lot of dopamine every time to navigate that far.
Well,
and then be like, ooh, a message. Who is it?
Yeah, be fair. You have to check your Earthlink email account. Get the notification there to plug in your dial-up modem, and
I have to put in my AOL here. Andrew, have you graduated? It's the bougie art store in town. It is the crayons are $10 a piece. Have you graduated to Jerry's? Are you Jerry's level now, or are you still Hobby Lobby? Michael's. We're not going to Hobby Lobby.
I only go to Hobby Lobby for my stolen relics from the Middle East, which are but they keep doing. They keep getting caught stealing relics.
They won't stop.
They won't. They can't. They won't stop. I've definitely graduated to Jerry's. They have everything I need. This is not sponsored. They have everything I need to get all my art projects done. But it is so funny because it's the youngest art kids that work there, and then the old guard of Texas artists who work there, who are pros and know everything, and can I'm looking for this very specific thing. Can you give you immediate directions to it? Anyway, sorry. Yes, art is what I'm obsessed with now. I was gonna go my long Jerry's tirade because they're wonderful. But yes, that's what I've been obsessed with. What about you, Drew?
Jerry's is a real sweet place. It's just I was there the other day, and it was $9 for this little chunk of but it's the best pencil you ever used in your whole life. I'm currently obsessed about. I just finished the White Lotus, which I was obsessed about until it ended, and then I won't spoil it for anybody, but I'm no longer obsessed with the White Lotus. And then I'm playing Breath of the Wild for the first time, and so
good game.
Trying to
Really
do
good game.
maybe an hour.
Enjoy the next 300 hours of your life.
Yeah, exactly. trying to do
you should be done in a couple years at that pace.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I bought that game on the Switch. Still haven't beaten it. I bought it on my I bought it on my Wii U, and then I was like, I didn't finish it, so I bought it on my Switch. Still haven't finished it. One day. All right. Let's go with Dave. What are you liking? What's your yum?
That's good.
Yum. We got to the yum already.
Not this past weekend, the weekend before, I went camping.
Ooh. Yeah.
It was fucking dope. Being in northern Ontario with super clean water, tiny little lakes. We portaged. It was terrible and then awesome because kayaking 500 meters, so you can portage 400 meters up two ginormous rocky hills, and then getting to kayak again and then setting up camp sucks. But then, camping for 3 days is pretty great, and swimming for 3 hours a day.
Where were
it was
you?
north of Kingston. It's Frontenac Provincial Park. So it's not quite northern Ontario. I guess it's on the border. It's really close to Quebec, and it is gorgeous there.
I really wanted some more metric measurements of things you did in that.
Yes, how many kilometers away?
Yeah, how many kilometers? Measuring land in hectares. Do they do that there, or is that also United States measuring land in hectares? That might not
Everybody
be
measures
metric.
in
We
hectares.
have the metric
Everyone
system.
measures.
Yeah.
It was
Very good.
a 3,000 cubit hike through you know.
Oh no.
Oh,
What? No.
David.
We couldn't handle it. We couldn't handle it.
Here he
So
comes.
camping.
What just
What did you
just
do?
happened?
You went into too many different
What
measurements,
just,
and we
like-
just gotta boot you.
I have on my main screen. The Discord window just went away. I haven't touched anything. It just went away.
That's just Discord, man.
Went,
That's just
okay,
Discord.
cool. I've never had that happen.
Wild.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
yeah,
it was a real moment of like, and the location of Blackbeard's gold is cut. Drop the feed. No, what?
Yeah.
Go, please tell us.
I was being murdered apparently, but I fought all the ninjas off, and now I'm back.
Nice.
Yeah,
All right, let's go to
yeah,
Brent.
it's great.
What's good? What's good? Currently hooked on that series Slasher. About halfway through season 3 right now. I'm not sure if anyone else has watched that. It's on Netflix and Prime. Each season is its own individual 8-episode slasher movie, basically, with like repeat characters, a la American Horror Story, but much better produced.
Oh,
It's much better produced, much
that's
better
high.
acted. But I don't like American Horror Story, so I stick with the Canadian shows. Sorry.
Hey.
That
Sorry,
and Eric knows from the like mountain of messages that I keep sending him about the builds that I come up with. I'm absolutely enamored and hooked on Hades right now,
Phenomenal.
and fighting for that platinum in that, and it has just been so much fun.
I can't believe you have what like 6 clears of that. I haven't. done one.
Seven clears in the past day.
I hate you so much.
I know, and I'll let you know as soon as I get number 8, 9, and 10.
I know you will. Okay, Marcus, what about you? What's good?
I started playing Hades. And it's fucking amazing. Honestly, I was avoiding it for so long, just being like, no, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to get into it. And then I was at a party with a buddy, and he was just kind of like, have you played Hades yet? I'm like, everybody's fucking talking about this game. And he's just like, you're going to love it. I'm like, I don't like those styles of games. He's like, you're going to like it. I'm like, bullshit. He's like, if you buy that game and you don't like it, I will reimburse you the money. So I said, fuck it, let's play it. And he's not giving me any money. This is a golden fucking game. It's amazing.
Nice.
That's been the opinion of everyone I know that I've told to buy it. Has been like,
honestly,
no, and then they bought it and they're like, thank you.
Yeah, I hate that I love it so much. I actually hate that I love it. Because it's one of those games that you can just pick up and play at any given time and just play a few rounds through and you'll be fine. But like, God, it's fun. And the story's pretty cool. Like, it's actually like just the fact that this is still like, this was an independent produced game, right?
Supergiant Games, yeah.
Yeah, like that's pretty impressive that a game like this can still kind of like come into the world and wow everybody. So I really liked that. And in between that, I've also just been going back and forth into the old Arkham Knight game, just because I just wanted to relive it again just before Gotham Knights comes out and everything. So playing back and forth with those.
I would spend hours playing those simulators on the Arkham Knight series and that, just fighting 50 guys at once.
It's pretty fun, right?
Engine. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the fighting engine is incredible.
Like when you get those perfect counters, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm a karate master. And then you realize you can't get off the couch because your back, started acting up. And oh, my ass, oh, my sciatic, I'm fucking done. And that's when we realize we're all old again. So
You're
it's
like, how old
great.
is Batman supposed to be? And he's doing all this shit?
Yeah, Bruce Wayne, how old are you fucking?
How many times has he had his ass kicked?
Oh, God, damn. And also a cool little thing is recently I've been doing some work for a little kids TV show. I'm not even sure what the name of the show is, but I've been making things for them. I got to make the Mr. Dressup's Pickle Trunk.
What?
Which was pretty fucking cool. Yeah.
Wow.
I got to
Mr.
make
Dressup's like
trunk.
a Canadian icon for
Yeah.
two Americans. Like it's like our Mr. Rogers.
I felt like we went into an alternate universe for a minute with like the word salad that is what is it,
Mr. Dressup.
Mr. Dressup's pickle truck just sounds like a Simpsons joke.
Pickle trunk.
It does sound like that's where the bad uncle
Pickle
takes
truck,
you
it's
to touch
much
you,
more
but
innocent.
It's not.
Pickle,
Yes.
I'm sorry, pickle trunk. There's their. It's
No,
a-
tickle.
He puts children
Tickle.
in and tickles them.
That sounds terrible. Oh, it's so brutal.
yeah. Upon any scrutiny, you're like, oh no.
It's a Canadian thing.
It was the 80s. This is a different time.
Thank God it's a beloved institution. Otherwise, it would run off the air.
Yeah.
All right, Hawk, what are you liking? What's your yum?
That's an easy one. AP Bio. It's streaming on Netflix right now. First 2 seasons, anyways. You can catch season 3 on the Peacock app or network or stream and that. It is a fantastic sitcom. Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and that plays Jack Griffin. Brief synopsis: he was a Harvard philosophy professor in that who fell into disrepute, something involving fighting an old man and losing to him. So he had to move back into his dead mom's house in Toledo, Ohio, and teach AP Bio to a bunch of high school kids. Which he promised the kids he would never, ever, ever teach them.
Isn't it the Dan Harmon show?
I don't think
No,
so.
it's not Dan Harmon. I can't remember the creator's name.
I can't remember exactly.
Is it Michael Schur?
I don't think.
No, not Michael Schur either.
It's not
I know
Michael
that
Schur.
name.
It's
made
This
by
sounds
Mike
really good.
O'Brien.
Oh, that is.
I don't know. Yeah. He
Anyways,
looks familiar,
it's-
but
It's just one of those shows where like the cast has amazing chemistry. The writing.
That's right
is
after Bio.
spectacular. Yeah. Seth Meyers is one of the producers on it. It's just one of those sitcoms you just like you just fall in love with, like The Good Place or Community. I would call it a mixture of like It's Always Sunny meets Community, if that helps to
I would
sell
agree
it.
with that. Yeah.
That sounds so good.
Mike O'Brien, he was on Saturday Night Live. He was the guy who kind of took over doing the pre-recorded segments after Lonely Island guys left.
Oh.
Okay.
So he was on the show for a couple seasons, and he did some really good work. Him doing his story of Jay-Z with him playing Jay-Z, and he is like literally the whitest person you've ever met, was phenomenal. And J.K. Simmons as Nas putting in a cameo was just wonderful.
That's like.
It's I've watched the first 2 seasons of AP Bio as well. I really enjoy that show because it's like your protagonist being the cantankerous loner with a heart of gold who's slowly melted over the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's done really well, and he absolutely nails it. It's great.
The 4th season is coming out really soon, and they're adding a new character, and that's his father, played by Bruce Campbell. So,
wow!
It's Bruce Campbell.
I knew he would come back I knew he would be his father in that show.
I feel like I could crunch that entire series down into one film called Sister Act 2: Back in the Habit, though, where a cantankerous, person has to go teach unruly students but doesn't want to teach them.
And instead teaches them the importance of music, or teaches them the importance of life through music.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or as usual in that he ends up learning more from them than they do from him.
Exactly,
That was
precisely.
Heartwarming.
Something he also promises
taught
students
who?
that would never ever happen in the show.
True.
Well, he's a philosophy major. Why would he teach biology?
Fair.
That's the
You'll find
weird
out
thing,
if
right?
you
Because
tune
he
in.
never teaches biology in that, but you do see this one episode where he just pones one of the one student in the class with
Is he
it.
pwn? Like non-ironically?
Yeah. No, the best one, and like I think it all is due to like, well, how does he get away with that? Well, luckily enough, Patton Oswalt plays the impeccable pushover principle. Like he can get away with murder because Patton Oswalt is allergic to confrontation.
He just wants to be his best friend.
He just wants to be his buddy. So yeah, he gets to run roughshod over everybody. It's great.
Oh, all right. Over on Twitch, TC Vintage said that Mr. Dress Up is Mr. Rogers done right. I don't know if we'd go that far.
Hey, come on.
They're both
How can you
great.
get more right than Mr.
Whoa.
Rogers?
Mr. Dressup is fantastic.
I still think it's kind of funny that Mr. Dressup he was an American who came to do a Canadian show, and then Mr. Dressup or Mr. Rogers was a Canadian that went and did an American show. They kind of switched between the two.
It's part of our. It was part of our wholesome exchange program.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
We were just exchanging incredibly wholesome things.
Yeah.
That's why we sent over Ryan Reynolds and all of those people. What I've
We're
been
grateful.
liking.
They sent
Sorry.
they sent us Vincent Price for the hilarious House of Frightenstein. So
Oh yes.
Not true. So what I've been liking, I was gonna do a what's shitty instead of a what's good, but I'm gonna save that for the intro of the next section. What's good right now is I watched The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf today, and it is
That's out. Shit.
fucking amazing. If you
Didn't
like The
it
Witcher
just come
world,
out?
it came out today. Yes, I did that instead of really paying attention to my work today, which was probably a bad idea. But yeah, it's good. It's set in a time that isn't really talked about in the books, so it was nice to see something that I didn't really know anything about. And Vesemir is going to be in the next season, and
It's also the same studio and half the same cast as Castlevania.
Yep.
So if you like Castlevania, you'll probably like this.
The animation style is amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Where we got our main topic, which we're going to go into now, was a bunch of us were talking about Snake Eyes and how everything seems to be a reboot or a continuation of something that we loved as a child. I know people talk about this a lot, but we thought, what property that we grew up with, what would we want as a continuation or a reboot, and if we wanted to, would there be a pitch that you would come up with for that show? I don't know if you guys got to see that in our outline, but I think we can circle around back to you guys.
Circle around. I've got some ideas, but yeah, circle around.
Let's
It
start
involves
off.
a little show called Mr.
To be fair.
Dresser.
To be fair, you guys are just learning about this now while we've had about 3 weeks to prepare.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Please.
some of us just prepared yesterday.
Deep research.
I literally prepared about an hour before we came on.
Well, let's start off with you, Brent, since you spent the last 3 weeks preparing for this. What show?
I literally slapped this together in the past hour, and it's.
Oh, wow.
Hang on, let me find my notes.
Too late.
All right, are we jumping right into this, or,
Yeah,
or
go
did
for
you
it.
have you want? Oh, I thought you had your
Do it,
what's bad
do
you
it.
wanted to get.
No.
to.
I talked
No,
about
Snake Eyes
already.
was just the bat.
All right, yes.
Unfortunately.
Snake Eyes is the bad. All right. It's the summer of 2021. Jamal and Lenny Jenkins, a 40-something married couple, move into their new Manhattan apartment. They, along with their teenage son and daughter, begin unpacking their belongings. Jamal comes across an old, dusty book, a diary. He and his wife look upon it fondly as they place it on its own special stand on the bookshelf. The family finishes unpacking and settles into their new home for the first night. 1:30 a.m., the family is awoken by a loud scream from down the hall. Running out to see what's happened, they come upon a single mother and her teenage daughter. The police arrive and we learn that the youngest child has been abducted. While the mother speaks with the police, the teenage daughter is approached by the Jenkins teens who offer their condolences and support. The next day, the young teen from down the hall arrives at the Jenkins door knocking, comes in and says she's found something left behind by the kidnappers. A note, written in code and in some unknown language to them. She exclaims that the police cannot make sense of it, but she knows it will help find her sister before it's too late. Unable to make sense of the letter either, the Jenkins unfortunately can't help. Until the dusty diary on the bookshelf begins to shake in a glow of a bright aura around it. It falls off the shelf and bursts with light. Suddenly, the note becomes illuminated on the wall, and the message starts to gradually decode. Much to the shock of the three teens, hearing the commotion, Jamal and Lenny enter the living room to see what's happening. He's back, says Jamal. The children all look at him. Who's back? Jamal and Lenny at the same time. Ghost Rider.
Hell yes.
Yep. What's funny is I didn't think you were gonna actually write a full page.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like,
Yeah, okay. Can we just clarify? I am not doing a pitch
No.
like that. I
No.
didn't come up with this beautiful intro story. I have nothing like that.
literally, I was gonna say the show.
Fuck you,
and then
Brett.
what I
That's what you got for making me go first.
Yeah, so tell us about Ghost Rider. What is this show, and why does it
That's
deserve?
hilarious.
All right, so Ghost Rider, for those who aren't aware, was a show that ran from 92 to 95. It was about a bunch of kids who discover a ghost that has the ability to assemble messages and write to them. And they use the Ghost Rider to form a club where they go around solving all these little mysteries in their neighborhood. And it's always like little stupid mysteries and that. So my concept for the show was to, now that it's been, like 25 years or however many years later, I'm not doing the math, bringing the show to a new generation, having it star the original two characters, Jamal and Lenny, from the original show, who have now become married and have kids, and now we follow them and their kids but bringing it more towards a young adult audience. Like I see it as like a CW show, the way that they brought back like the Riverdale and all of that. And I liked it more as like it's if it's a mystery show, let's kind of make it more in the vein of like a Veronica Mars type show.
Cool.
Where each season has its own, each episode is self-contained, but each season has its own overarching story that Ghost Rider has to help them figure out.
So Brent, yeah, is anybody else familiar with this show? I feel like I'm the only. Okay.
This
do y'all remember that like the 4 or 5 episode arc of like the weird gum doll, the doll that was made out of like purple gum that like was a multi-episode Ghost Rider arc, or was that? Did I dream that?
I don't remember
Jesus.
that.
Did you remember that specifically?
Did you just invent Ivan Ooze?
I might have. It looked like
it
was in my head. It was like a little Ivan Ooze doll in like a pleather coat. I just wanted to see if anybody else had this memory. I'm now gonna have to go do some research because I feel like a crazy person.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
If this helps you remember, I don't know if it was like, was it a Canadian or an American show? I'm not really 100% sure.
It was on
the
PBS
Children's
here.
Television Workshop.
I just
Gooey
looked it up.
Gus.
It was 4 episodes.
I was right. Okay,
Attack
good.
of the Slime Monster.
Gooey Gus.
I don't remember that one.
Yep. And he looks fucked up. Gooey Gus, terrifying. I had nightmares.
Okay, I
was
gotta
like,
look this thing up.
Yeah, it was a Ghost Rider multi-episode arc. He has Ivan Ooze. He is Ivan Ooze adjacent.
That must have been one of the later ones because I know only the first 2 seasons appeared in Canada and the rest of it was only in the States.
It's
This thing is fucked up.
Right? That
Holy
this show was on.
shit!
This show was on PBS Kids. It was like this came on. This thing was on right before fucking Reading Rainbow. Like that was. It was like that was what would. No thanks, but would watch a reboot of Ghost. I feel like they recently did a Ghost Rider reboot.
There's
here.
one on Apple TV Plus.
Here in the
something.
States, as you say.
I don't think
There
it's
is
the same,
one on,
though, isn't it?
yeah. There's
got
one
the-
on
I-
Apple TV, and it's basically just by name only. It's more of a
Oh,
Jumanji
copy.
remake, if anything, where it's like instead of it being like this ghost character that writes to them, the ghost character like manifests characters from books and into the real world, and like to
Oh, so,
interact with them. So it's
Like
more
Ghost
like
Rider
I'd say
became
more to
Wishbone.
Jumanji.
Oh
Understood.
yeah, it is Wishbone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wishbone.
Oh, I should have done that for my.
Which
pitch
to me
meeting.
defeats the purpose of it, because the whole idea of the original series was to get kids interested in reading.
Right.
And then, 30 years later, like, let's reboot the series. But instead of having children read, let's just throw colorful images at them, and we're good.
The last thing I want to do
Television.
after seeing the slime monster is read.
Holy Jesus. That's
wanna-
terrifying.
I'm gonna get
Yes.
the Communist
just-
Manifesto and learn how to make a flamethrower and fight
I'm just
this
glad
thing.
I didn't invent that in my weird little kid brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, I gotta save up a little more money for therapy now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now I gotta,
Jeez.
Well,
now I gotta
now
go
you
to
know what-
bonus therapy.
Now you
Yeah.
know what you're talking about with your therapist this week.
That just officially overshadowed. I mean, like, the one thing that Ghost Rider, I think, was most famous for is, like, does anyone remember the cameo in the very... I guess it wasn't really a cameo because he wasn't really famous at the time, but the actor who played Jamal's father in the very first episode,
Mm.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
This was pre Pulp Fiction, so
Oh,
I think
shit.
this was like, it wasn't a cameo. He was
Dang.
just still like a hardworking actor at the time. But he
So
This
at
was
what time in the episode
pre-Jurassic
does he
Park.
drop the motherfucker though? Like,
Oh,
Wow.
well, he does drop the book that
That's not-
spawns Ghost Rider, so he is responsible for everything happening.
that's pretty
Wait,
cool.
and there's another like weird fact that I found out. Like, this is like, I thought just went beyond this being a children's show, but one of the producers came out after the show had finished and said that somebody asked, like, who was Ghost Rider? Like, you never explained it in the show. And they said, oh, it was the ghost of a slave who was on the run during the Civil War, teaching others how to read and write, and was murdered by slave runners and their dogs.
Whoa.
Oh,
Okay.
extra dark.
thanks. And his
Yeah.
soul became trapped in the book that he would use to teach others to read.
Shit.
That's amazing. Like,
Jesus,
This
me.
is for children. You said,
Yeah.
like ages 4 to
Right.
5.
no, older.
Because I was 4 when this show came out.
Oh wait.
I think I was
Holy
12.
Shit,
so-
that's heavy.
Well, I'm gonna go to bed, Mom and Dad. I've seen things. I've learned things.
It's 4 p.m. Yeah.
I'm changed. Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone knows the bubblegum monster comes out at 8.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, are we good,
That's
Brent? Good with yours?
Marcus,
Wow.
can you make that for me?
Huh?
Can you make that for me?
I can, but I don't want to. Fuck, that thing would
No, it's gonna
haunt
be
my dreams.
haunted.
That would haunt my shop for like a fucking month. I don't want that near
It's
me.
gonna keep reappearing in his house.
I think
It
he
looks
was
like a
made
bu-
out of. I think he was made out of grape chewing gum. Like that was the conceit of the episode.
The
And
thing-
it's like
It looks like a boglin has melted. Like you remember
Yeah.
those fucking boglins? It's like one of those melting on a fucking leather jacket.
Ugh.
It's crazy.
This is vile. The thing I'm picturing in my mind is absolutely vile.
it's as bad as you think it is.
Yep, it really is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because
Oh,
I can immediately picture a wet mound of like big league chew, and I'm
Imagine
like,
someone took
"You're
a heat
doing
gun
it,
to the
Peter!"
grimace, and then it
With a
just
face.
condensed.
All right, let's move on over to Marcus because I know what he's picking and I like his.
Okay. So I do not have a nice, beautiful, eloquent elevator pitch like Brent did. I'm just going to talk about the show itself. So the show was Gargoyles, produced by Disney in the 90s. It
Who?
was Gargoyles
No,
by
who
Disney?
produced-
No, Disney. It's a small company. They don't make
It's-
anything
yeah,
anymore. Yeah.
Don't worry, they're in some legal action right now. Nobody knows anything about it. It's just
little mom and pop.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a spider.
little mom pop shop. So I like many of my friends and many of the people of our generation kind of fell in love with this weird cartoon, and just like it was like the Ninja Turtles, but kind of darker and cooler and like, flying and shit like that. Although they didn't fly, they glide. They only glide.
Yeah, they only ride air currents. Okay, they
They ride
fly.
air currents. They don't
Yeah.
fucking fly. Which I always thought was the biggest horse shit ever. I'm like, fuck off. They can fly. But anyway.
They
Fly.
can't fly. Why are they at the top of buildings?
Why are they magical animals that like transform at nighttime but can't fly? Like what a weird
Yeah.
rule to have.
Yeah. You can do all
imposed
this stuff
upon
and you're
your...
There's so much animated footage on the cutting room floor of them huffing and puffing upstairs of buildings to get back up to their perches.
Just
Just
go
remember,
on.
they
Go
would-
on without me.
They would just dig their claws into side of buildings, and for some reason would never leave a mark. They're like, what are these mystical creatures flying overhead? It's like, well, we have physical evidence. They've just torn up the side of every building in New
Every
York
window
City.
washer knows about them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
like no building would be safe in the city. Everything would be destroyed after a couple of months. Like it'd be
Yeah. I mean, from a sheer structural integrity standpoint, these buildings would be
Condemned.
if you had monsters just like ripping chunks of brick out of the sides of the wall. And I love that it would just be like a family circus style like dotted line of claw marks up to the gargoyle. So just be like, yeah, these fucking gargoyles come to life at night. Is there anybody doubting this? Like, look at these claw marks. Come on. I'm not the
So,
crazy one here.
I loved the show, and it was much like other people. We watched the first season, which was nice, and then the second season, which was insanely long but awesome, and then the third season, known as the Goliath Chronicles, which was just after the Disney had dropped the show, and then ABC picked it up and started making the Goliath Chronicles, which was supposed to be a continuation, but it was really like a different show, and it was pretty shit. So my idea would be following, but like kind of ignoring the Goliath Chronicles in any shape or form, and continuing from the original story, but jumping it way into the future, and like some shit has gone down. So my inspiration has kind of come from the newer Ninja Turtle stories that they came out with, the Ronin Ninja Turtle stories. And the idea that I always had, one of my favorite episodes from the original Gargoyles, was when Broadway accidentally is playing with Eliza's gun and shoots her by accident, and then goes fucking crazy and like goes attacking everybody with a gun. Like anybody who's got a gun, he just like mauls them down, and he's like, no fucking guns, and like shit like that. And I loved seeing that pudgy, fun character get fucking psychotic. So my idea is, it's been say 45 years or so, and some shit has gone down. Like at this point, Xanatos is gone, Eliza has died on the job, like things have happened, and over the time, the gargoyles, just because of like inactivity or something like that, they don't wake up every night. They like kind of, maybe it's once in a while or something like that. And then because of, as time has gone on, people have like bought and sold these statues, and they've kind of traveled the world and everything. And nobody really knows what's happened as the show picks up. So the show kind of picks up with Broadway 45 years past where we left off, and he's alone, or at least he thinks he's alone. He doesn't know of his brothers being alive. He doesn't know his clan is still around, and he's been through a lot of dark, horrible shit, and has kind of gone off on his own as a vigilante, and he's kind of taking up the night and protecting another city, some other random city. I don't know where it would be at. And I just love the idea of this guy being like this really angry, angsty, gritty, because he was also one of the more immature ones, so he would still have that kind of angry immatureness to him, and then just trying to live his life and trying to do his thing. But then over time, as the seasons would continue, you'd find out like stories and hear these words about other creatures and other sightings and other things, and eventually you find out that some of the brothers are still alive. But the idea is, like, as they have been sold off to collectors as gargoyles, they have awoken into other worlds, and they've done their things, and like they've kind of gone through their own changes and their own weird situations. So my idea was that Lexington, when he kind of came to life, somebody basically imprisoned him, and like he became like from X-Men when they had what's his name, like a cage fighting what's his name, Nightcrawler.
Oh.
Like they basically are like like Lexington has kind of become this like weird, like almost like
Circus.
cage fighting kind of thing, circus act kind of, but like almost like take all bets, like see if you can survive around with the creature and that kind of stuff. So Lexington has kind of become like really jaded and really like messed up because of that, but he's also timid and scared of the humans again and all this kind of shit. The idea for Brooklyn, which is the guy, if he had the big snout kind of thing, he sold off to a collector in Japan, and upon waking up one night, startled his new master and scared the crap out of him. He attacked him and basically lost his wings in a scuffle and has been kind of badly damaged and scarred. But upon reaching like an accord with this master, they became friends, and has actually been trained. And so now he's actually kind of like a trained samurai almost kind of thing in like Japan or something. But he has no wings. He's now a flightless gargoyle, but he has like a new set of skills.
Glideless gargoyle.
He is a glideless gargoyle.
Yeah, sorry, I don't want to.
Can't glide, he can't fly.
No,
He
none
just
of that.
falls.
And I mean, Hudson's dead, Bronx is dead. But yeah,
Killed the
they
dog?
the dog's dead, man.
Oh.
It's been 45
John
years.
Wick. Keanu Reeves is gonna find you.
No, you got to think this: 45 years, and this thing has been sold off somewhere, and then just wakes up, and someone's like, "Fuck, monster!" Bam, like they kill this thing, so it's dead. And again, this is the idea that I have for all of this: is this whole series kind of thing would be, it wouldn't be like an afternoon, cartoon fest. It would be like those Spawn movies, like those really dark,
The HBO ones?
like those kind of things. And it would be a series, but it would be a series of films as opposed to actual TV episodes or something like that.
So you and Brent both took children's property and were like, "Fuck kids, we're going to the adults."
We want to be more adult for us now.
But there's a reason for that, because like, why do you if you keep rebooting it for younger generations, what do we end up with? The new He-Man. Like that little fucking thing that just popped out, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Troll Hunter He-Man. And I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. I don't want that. That's not for me. That's for my kids or some other kids. The people who are going to connect instantly to gargoyles, if it ever were to surface again, are the people like us. And we're not going to sit through a lovey-dovey hug fest of fucking gargoyles.
Right.
So why bother bullshitting trying to recreate the wheel and give something to these kids, as opposed to just fucking make a cool series that the nerdy fucking adults who loved it will fucking eat it up and buy it and go crazy for it. Like, there's no, you barely have to advertise the damn thing. It'll just
it sells itself.
Just have Keith David say those,
And,
like that little bit of the intro, and people will just flock back.
Yep.
Yeah.
and Eric, I can't wait to hear your NC-17 version of the Smurfs.
They have no pants. Like, What? Wait, no. Wait, they'll have the shirts. I don't know. Good on Marcus. I think that sounds awesome. Like, I would love to see the Gargoyles again. I loved that show as a kid. Like, fuck.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a formative TV show. It was one of the bridge in my case really did kind of bridge the gap between like kids show and like, but that like tackled some pretty cool like adult themes and it was a nice gateway show or like bridge show thematically for more sophisticated stuff. And in my experience,
Yes.
so
All right.
I'm on board.
Let's move on to Hawk.
Hey, so I fell into like a little deep dive in that of these old shows I used to watch when I was younger. And that few popped up under sci-fi and fantasy and that, Voyagers, Misfits of Science, and I was trying to find that one show back from my day and that would make a great reboot. I have found it in a little show called Werewolf.
Don't know this
It
show.
it was
I
from
love this
Fox's
show.
Fox's first inaugural year as a network, and that from 87 it ran from one season only, 87 to 88. Inventive little show. It came out as the pilot is like a 2-hour movie in that. The brief synopsis is a college student named Eric Cord comes back home to his dorm room one night and finds his roommate sitting there with a gun and 6 bullets. And he asks Eric if he will murder him, and then begins to explain why.
Oh, shit.
He believes he has been cursed as a werewolf. He shows Eric this pentagram, this big bright red pentagram on his hand, and that Eric originally thinks that he carved it in there himself and that, but he says like if he doesn't kill him by the time the moon rises and that, he's going to transform. So Eric, not wanting to kill his friend, obviously based on some whim, sits there and they wait, and he ties him to a chair. Midnight pops around, the transformation begins and that, and he sees that his friend has indeed been cursed as a werewolf. He takes the gun, he shoots him in that, but not before the guy gets loose from his bonds and wounds him in that, thus passing on the curse to Eric. You see the bright red pentagram on his hand. So Eric is now trying to find a way to destroy the curse, learns that the only way to do it is to kill the original descendant of the bloodline and that created it and that. And this turns out to be a drifter named of Jonas Scorvenzi. He's played by Chuck Connors and that. He was this guy from that old show Rifleman way back in the I think 50s. Yeah. He's actually really good
He's
in that.
fantastic.
This is his
in
last
this
television
show.
role, apparently.
Apparently so, and that, and he kind of argued himself out of some of the money on it, and that, he halfway through he wanted a better contract. So yeah, on top of that, there is a bounty hunter, and that played. His name is Alamo Joe Rogan, not that Joe Rogan.
The other one.
Yeah. It's briefly, it's just this amazing little fugitive Incredible Hulk style show in that, where it's a man on the run, trying to find the curse for what's happening to him, or his one-armed man,
And then helping people along the way, that type of thing.
Yeah.
This definitely
And,
sounds like something the CW would make right now.
Like,
Like,
I remember there
100%.
being one. I remember there being one episode where he like finds his way into the home of like a mother and son who they're being abused by like the father, and he's like trying to help. And all I can remember vividly is the scene of like the father like backhanding him and knocking him over a couch, and then you just hear the noises behind as he turns into the werewolf and then lunges out at him.
Yeah.
Great show. The whole thing's on YouTube too. You can find the entire series.
The production wise, it was like it was very different from any other TV shows, and that the whole intro in that is very cinematic looking, and that involving like because it focuses on Joe Rogan, and that he's gathering up his stuff, and there's this little monologue going on over it, and that and he basically says, "I didn't believe in the supernatural until I met Eric Cord last week." Special effects wise, and that the 80s were kind of the heyday for werewolf effects. This didn't have quite that budget in that, but they did actually come up with some pretty unique like looks in that, especially with Scorvini in that, it was just because he had this big black eye patch over in that, and he would take it off when he was about to begin the transformation. You'd just see like this black dead eye in there. The transformation sequence usually involved some nice prosthetic teeth in that, but then when they would make his final transformation, instead of like the stop motion where we were accustomed to in that, they would basically reach to his mouth and that, and just pulled the skin over his head like I was taking off a human suit and that to reveal the wolf underneath. So basically, if I was gonna reboot this, I wouldn't take it to CW and that. I don't want it turned into a teen drama. I'd probably go with FX if it's still in production. I don't know, given the Disney deal on that, or else take it to HBO and that, because this thing's got to be bloody and it's got to be nightmarish the way it was. Because this was when we're even at, I think I was about 11 when I started watching this. It was pretty nightmarish. It was something that stayed with you.
It was 7-year-old me was like just gripped the television every time it was on. Like it blew me away at that age.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this show, but it sounds amazing.
Like you said, the entire season's on YouTube and that. So if anybody wants to check it out, go for it.
Even just watch the first episode. Like just the pilot is incredible.
I'm looking up the info right now.
Nice. We'll put it in the show notes. It's all going to be down there.
I guess nobody owns the rights to it anymore then.
Yeah, I guess not. Dave, did you want to go next?
Yeah, because nobody seems to own the rights to the show I'm going to do either, because this is also on YouTube for some reason, even though this company still exists. So in the yesteryear of 1998 to 1999, there was a 2-season show called Shadow Raiders. And it was made by the same company that did Beast Wars and Reboot, if you're familiar with those.
Reboot's my idea. Neat.
Yeah.
Well, they already rebooted Reboot. That's why.
Yeah, I'm gonna reboot the reboot of that reboot.
Okay.
That reboot was terrible.
So
It was a bad reboot.
Yeah.
after they did Reboot, after they did Beast Wars, they did this show, which was loosely based on another toy line, because obviously Transformers is just a toy line made into a cartoon, right? That was the whole deal. So like, what if we keep this trend up? And there was a Trend Masters. I don't think they exist anymore, but they had a line called War Planets, which is as generic as you can imagine.
I remember these, yes.
And
I fucking remember that shit.
they did a dope-ass TV series, which was kind of like the closest thing you could get to Star Wars in like the late 90s for kids. Like, I guess you had Shadows of the Empire, but that was like a one-off. But this was like a TV series that you would, every Saturday morning, you'd sit down and you'd watch Spider-Man, and you'd watch this. And it was about a series. It was focused on 4 warring planets of a solar system called the Cluster, as they were forced to set aside their differences and form a coalition against the menace of the Beast Planet. I watched the first season of this. It holds up surprisingly well. It doesn't hold your hand. Episode 10 is just a clip show, because they probably are, shit, we've got to make 13 episodes, and we've only got so much time to make all this footage, because it was very expensive to do. This is pure CGI, and to do pure CGI in the 90s, incredibly expensive. I don't think you'd have to change much about the show. I think we just get modern day, like Corridor Digital could probably make this and just like knock it out of the park. Maybe Rooster Teeth. I don't know. Maybe they need another animated
We don't
series.
have those connections. That's the animation department. I haven't talked to anybody over there in years.
And like, I just thought it holds up surprisingly well. It's a pretty simple concept. It's just 4 disparate groups. It's ice, fire, rock, and bone are like the 4 weird planets. Because it was made in the 90s and it's CGI, things are not fleshed out at all. Like they show like a whole army and it's like 13 people. Yeah. Right. So it's like, these are all the forces we have. We're pinned down over here and it's just 2 guys fighting 2 guys.
We're plucky.
Right, like it is the equivalent of like the 1960s sci-fi, but in CGI form. So I think this would be relatively cheap, maybe to make by today's standards, and it's a pretty simple concept. And they just bring back the toys, because the toys were actually pretty dope. Mine's not as in depth, because you could just honestly recopy this whole show. Shot
just
for
do it better.
Make new toys.
Just do it better. Just update it, just like they should do with Beast Wars, which hopefully they will. Just
aren't they?
You don't have to change
Beast
a lot
Wars
of
movie?
things.
Oh no, wait.
Yeah, the next Transformers is going to Rise of the Beasts or something like that. It's going to have Optimus Primal, I guess, and we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway.
Can't wait.
I hope so. And Cheetor and Rat Trap. But that's it. Mine's super simple. Just bring me back more Shadow Raiders so I can waste money on plastic toys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. I'm gonna go next. Oh, sorry.
Really quickly before you go, Eric, TC Vintage on Twitch has pitched an HBO series reboot of Biker Mice from Mars. They are on a mission to stop Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos from getting to Mars.
Oh, yeah. That's very smart.
Well done.
So thank you for that, TC Vintage.
That's awesome.
So my show is probably one of the reasons why I really love theater now, and it's a little show from 1989 called Quantum Leap. It follows.
Yes.
I knew this would happen. I knew they weren't gonna have like some like crazy thing, and then we were all gonna take their ideas.
Well, also it had all the benchmarks because it's Canadian and it's a reboot, and so mine's also Canadian and a reboot.
So for those that don't know, Quantum Leap is about a physicist called Dr. Sam Beckett who theorized that time travel was possible, and with his friend Admiral Al Calavici, played by Dean Stockwell.
Dean Stockwell.
They gained government support to build Project Quantum Leap. When they decided to pull the funding, Dr. Sam Beckett decided to jump into the machine himself and test it out, and he ends up getting thrown back in time. And basically what happens is he goes through various dates through history and tries to fix things that have gone wrong in the timeline. It's also one of the most infamous shows to have like this ridiculous ending because the final episode just said he never came back. And you're like, what? Why?
Yeah. Poochie died on the way to his home planet. Yeah, it was a very
I didn't know he was an alien.
I guess. Sure. Yeah, he never made it home. Well, that is an ending, I guess.
It was sad because earlier in that season, the 5th season, we find out that through one of his leaps, he made a child with some lady. So he has a daughter out there that's working on Project Quantum Leap. So my pitch would be to continue this storyline. I love Tron Legacy. I know no one loves that movie, but I love that movie. And I like the idea of someone trying to find their...
like Jeff Bridges' face.
Yeah.
His little plasticky...
You just want to mush it.
I just want to squeeze on it, yeah.
I was thinking maybe get like a granddaughter to go through Project Quantum Leap and try and find her grandfather, because at that time the show took place in 97. His daughter would have been about 30 at the time. I assume they had a kid, and if they had it now, you'd have their kid going through time trying to find him. And I think like a little 10 episode series would be awesome, like her trying to find it, like overarching while also dealing with social issues like science fiction often does. And this was a great show that talked a lot about different issues in in our lives.
Everything.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal show.
They used it to teach history too, right? Where like it wasn't just social, but it was like, hey, this is something that happened, and this is how this person had to deal with it at the time, and now he's going to deal with it in the same way because he can't change history.
Well, certain things change, and it's for the better, right?
One of my favorite. There was a 2-episode arc where he actually leaped back into his own body, but him as like basically a high schooler, and the goal was his brother got killed in Vietnam, and that, and not just that, but his father, due to his poor diet and exercise regime, ended up having a heart attack prematurely in his life, and that. So he went back to try and fix both their lives in this 2-episode arc. It was really great. The second episode, I remember he ends up having to win a basketball game in order to change things and that. And then Al lets him know that your brother still dies in Vietnam and that, and he's like, no. And as he's getting this information, he does the leap, and there he is. The very next episode, he's in Vietnam in his brother's platoon.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It was awesome because Scott Bakula ended up playing his father in that episode as well. So it was just like, this is why I love Scott Bakula so much. Maybe
we have to pay for one actor then.
Maybe in the reboot series he leaps back into Scott Bakula playing Captain Archer in Enterprise and stops them from doing Faith of the Heart as the intro. So you never know.
I want to leap back into him in Necessary Roughness.
Quick pitch for the finale of the reboot is, if it's his grandchild and that, they leap back to the day he decides to do the leap.
That would be awesome.
So he doesn't go, then the kid is
do
never
that
born.
de-aging thing on Scott Bakula, make him look young.
Do the Kurt Russell as Evil Living Planet, that de-aging they did on him, that was actually really good.
Fantastic.
Really good de-aging. That was spooky. Yeah.
Andrew, how would you reboot it if you had the chance?
I mean, literally, you kind of took beat for beat the pitch that I was gonna do, which is just, it's his daughter or granddaughter who's like taken over his research and sets out on the same quest to bring him home, and it really is just like kind of chasing her, chasing a ghost through time, while also like having her, having Scott Bakula, having Dr. Beckett's like same empathetic to a fault tendencies of like wanting to help people, because that was like the whole thing about that series is like, I think there at the end of that series, it was like a very Wizard of Oz style, like you had the power to go home this whole time, you just don't subconsciously don't want to, you like helping people. So you just had to click your heels together, and he's like, okay, in that case I need to do one last thing, and of course then you don't get the you know, he never made it home
came
title,
back.
which is a real twist of the knife, if you ask me. So you know what? I'm gonna can I go ahead and segue into my pitch? Is that okay?
Of course.
Yeah.
Then I would like to pitch the I guess you guys don't have. I want to pitch the Costco brand Quantum Leap sliders. I want to do.
Yeah.
I knew that's where you were going.
I will pitch the CVS Walgreens house brand version of Quantum Leap sliders. Which
I fucking loved sliders.
I love sliders too.
Mr. Mallory.
We had about a 10-minute discussion after the last podcast about which one of us was going to fight over doing this show.
Nice.
Oh man.
No, go ahead, Andrew.
Oh no, yeah, I would pitch sliders. It has the same kind of engine in terms of plot that the
we were talking about this the other day. Similar to like early 2000s movies where they would like go into your blood vessels in every movie, where it was like you always would have like
Jones
or like into the engine for like I almost said Need for Speed, Fast and Furious. Like you're always going into things. Everybody had the same blue tunnel to travel in the 90s. It was Quantum Leap, Sliders, Stargate, the movie Contact. Everybody was cruising through that same fucking blue screensaver.
The best Winamp visualization money could buy.
I remember Geis.
They put it to good use. Yeah, there was a blue warp tunnel, and I just, in terms of like, I'll keep this very brief. I think you could reboot that show very easily because it's essentially an endless plot engine to go to multiple universes where everything's different. It's a non-comedic Rick and Morty. Like you just go on like serious journeys to help people through the multiverse, and you get your like. In my mind, the new like group of people who are sliding through different universes are probably a little younger, because I feel like the group in the original Sliders, it was like
a little grumpy.
These are all associate professors. Like I feel like if you wanted,
he has a law degree.
Yeah, I feel like if you wanted to get some real juice behind this, it would be like early 20 something.
You're pitching CW Sliders is what you're pitching.
That's exactly what I'm pitching.
Jerry O'Connell's character is like 22, 23, right? Because he's in college, or he's in college university, right? He's not. Right?
Jerry
O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell was a student, and like Jonathan Rhys Davies played his teacher or something. Yeah.
Professor.
So we've got one young,
There we go.
One young character.
So in the
I think you take the Jonathan Rhys Davies character, you just Doogie Howser the shit out of him. He's like a 15-year-old who's very bright. Made a portal in his backyard, and then sliders.
Are we just gonna
the girl that was on the show was young too?
Though? Is that
say what?
So it wasn't the girl that was on the show. She was young too, right? Wasn't she?
I think they were both
like
in
his
the
girlfriend
same.
or something.
Yeah, that was his girlfriend. Here, I actually, you know what? That would be a really interesting, Drew. I really love your take on this. That would be a really interesting twist on it. Is that if you made the like genius who came up with this whole like interdimensional travel thing was the same age as the other people going on it and was like, brilliant, but of course that brilliance has alienated him from the people his age, and so now has to spend ostensibly eternity jumping through different dimensions with these people who. Probably
you're spending eternity jumping through multiverse with Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah, just like. But therein you have the engine for learning empathy, and again, Discord just will not.
Discord hate Dave.
Discord hates.
I don't know.
Discord hates.
I haven't touched anything. The rest of the podcast, I'm gonna do this. If it breaks, it's not my fault.
But I think that is what will be like the overarching emotional core of the show is that the one thing that is true between all these wacky dimensions is care for our fellow man.
Sorry,
and learn.
Do you
and
say
learning,
overarching? Is it overarching?
or
is it
overarching?
It's got an H.
Overarching.
But it's CH. It's CH. So
Yeah.
I just realized that I don't know how that's pronounced.
It's
Hold on.
English. Both are acceptable.
Right. Aunt or aunt.
Yeah.
Ant.
Alt?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, you're right, Andrew. It's overarching.
I'm not going to church. I'm going to church.
Yeah. I just had the Google lady tell me it's definitely overarching. So I am so wrong. Very
So-
good.
So was
Very
I
good.
actually. I
That's
was pretty sure it was
silence.
arc,
Yeah.
as in like as in an emotional
yeah,
or
it
stories
arcs,
arc. And
yeah.
yeah.
No, overarch.
Yeah, but an arch that holds up a tunnel is also spelled ARCH, right?
Yep.
It's the same. They both come
Right.
from the French.
Okay.
God damn, we don't need to get into that.
Can you get rid of Dave again?
Let me just
Discord, boot him.
leave Discord.
You guys don't
That's
have an etymology segment where we break down the history and origins of words? Shit.
That's a bonus. That's a bonus podcast.
Yeah,
Bonus,
that's
bonus.
my other
God.
podcast. Yeah.
Great.
All right, Drew, do you have a pitch?
Yeah, I'm rebooting Cheers. I'm
Oh,
doing
that's
single
so
camera
good.
style.
Oh, that is so
it's gonna
good.
It's gonna be done similar to Arrested Development. In fact, you know what? Let's just hire Dan Harmon to battle with Mitch Hurwitz in the writers' room and have them both in at the same time to make the most convoluted, complicated things that can happen in a bottle episode. And then the other rule of the show, because the first season did it so well, they can't leave the bar. And maybe there's like some problem that they can't leave the bar and it's a Groundhog Day situation, but that's the shtick. And then you can obviously have what's his name from The Good Place? Who's Sam Malone?
Ted
What
Danson.
the fuck?
Ted
Yeah,
Danson.
Ted Danson. I kept calling him Tom Davies in my head, and I was like, "That's not right.
That's
Tom
not-
Davies isn't a
Doctor
man."
Who?
Ted Danson.
You got the initials right.
Tom Davies is 100% the Australian Ted Danson.
Good night,
Yeah,
mate.
Hello,
Tom
Diane.
Davies?
So he's an
Welcome,
Australian
Tom
chief.
Davies.
welcome
Fit
to
eat.
Mama. Yeah.
Down there we called it
Yeah,
Foster.
Vietnam.
Yeah, and then single camera style, very complicated, like overly complicated. And then you bring back Sam Malone for cameos. I don't know who would be the new Sam Malone though. I'm trying to like.
Woody Harrelson.
I was thinking, well, no, too old. I'm thinking like a younger, a hipper. I'm like trying to
Oh.
figure out that main dynamic of like, is it Ryan Reynolds and Emma Stone? Could be. I don't know. Maybe just throwing that out there.
Here's the problem that you run into immediately is that from the absolute very first episode of Cheers, Ted Danson was clearly a star. It's like this man belongs on TV.
100%.
He is a man made of charisma,
Yeah.
and so it's just like
And just
you
teeth. Yeah.
charisma, teeth, and a quap. Like you
Yeah.
need someone who is instantly likable. I don't know that level of charisma exists in one single human anymore.
He
I
really
don't think
united-
Possibly
united
in
the
Tom
nation.
Davies.
possibly
Whoever Tom Davies is. But then I think on the weekly you
Very
just
good.
have every week you just have some sort of celebrity cameo in the back of the bar, and I think that's what drives people in is a
I
return to
would watch
classical
this
television.
reboot.
Well, that's
Yeah.
perfect because apparently
That's
they're going to be rebooting Frasier at some point.
which I
Gross.
can't wait. I love my Frasier's one of my favorite all-time favorite shows.
I can't
Frasier's
separate
amazing.
I can't separate Kelsey Grammer
Grammer?
from Frasier and
Yeah.
also, am I the only one who thought they were all British when I was a little kid? I was like, what are these British people doing in this Seattle
Are
apartment?
they
Like,
not British?
no, they're not British.
No, they're
just fancy
well-to-do.
Americans.
They're Boston Brahmins.
Yeah.
So they have that like transatlantic like effete speak that kind of sounds British.
I think we can all agree in 1776, though, they'd be loyalists, right? Like,
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think Kelsey Grammer is currently a loyalist. Like he's pretty.
he's like, we need to
pretty
return to the
hard
British,
into
under British rule.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's amazing. I would
That was good. Pulling that out of your that was really good.
Yeah, cheers. The last
Yeah.
episode, they go outside of the bar and you find out it's an apocalypse situation.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Written by
The
Seth
entire
Rogen.
the entire downstairs bar has been a bunker the whole time. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, amazing.
Turns into a Cloverfield sequel.
Yeah, I should have gotten tipped off when people kept coming in and asking for gasoline. When they
Give us your gasoline.
we go in. Yes.
Oh, that was amazing. Like, I loved all these pitches. I thought they were fantastic. I think maybe Brent went a little bit too long, but whatever.
he came prepared. So, kudos to him.
Yeah, he painted a picture.
Brent, we're not being graded, right? Like,
I
we're
would have
all
been
done
quicker. I'm not used to there being 7 of us here.
Sure, it's a lot. Yeah.
Anytime I get guests, is going to be a lot of us.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will be graded. Maybe the people on Twitch and out on our podcast, or people who are subscribed, are gonna write us and say who's the best one. We'll
a lot
find
of
out.
F's in chat, probably.
Yeah.
My favorite show is Dave gets kicked off Discord.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
It reminds me of a young Tom Davies.
Is that your Australian accent?
I don't know what that was.
No, that was a Monty Python woman, is what that is.
Oh, right. That like spam.
Yeah.
Pick up better.
Yeah.
The spam, bacon, eggs, and spam doesn't have too much spam in it.
Who made you the king?
Yeah, exactly. It's a universal voice that stands the test of time.
Oh, we should have rebooted Monty Python. We all fucked up.
No, you can't reboot Monty
You
Python.
can't touch it.
No. No.
Go look up Man Stroke Woman. It was a great BBC 3 series with Nick Frost. That's the closest thing you'd probably get to a new Monty Python. It was fantastic.
Well,
I don't know. Kids in the Hall always came pretty close for me.
and
We
they're
do have new
rebooting
Kids
that.
in the Hall on the way too.
Oh,
Kids in the Hall. We're
true.
just filming in Toronto.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're now the old men in the hall.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
I
By
hope they
look at
play
the
young
pictures,
people.
They were the old men in the alley.
Yeah. I hope beyond hope that they just play young characters. Like they
Oh,
do not at all flinch,
100%.
just play young characters.
yeah.
Like play teens, kids up in their bedroom, whatever it is, whatever the sketches are. They
Oh,
need
he's
to
up
play young
Bobby up in
characters.
his bedroom playing guitar with a wall pedal, right?
Exactly.
it'd be really good
Precisely.
if they get other people that are actually younger than them to play their adults and like their parents and like the
Yes.
kids
What
stuff.
was
Hello, fellow
like the
young
Wet
people.
Hot
I
American Summer prequel that they
Yes.
did? That was
Yes, I love that.
I'm just picturing John C. Reilly and Kristen Wiig and Dewey Cox right now. You hear that? I'm Dewey's 12-year-old girlfriend.
All right. Well, let's thank our special guests, Andrew and Julie, for coming on for our
Hey!
show.
Thank you so much.
Of course,
You know,
absolutely.
talking about the silly reboot idea. Is there any
Oh, yeah.
current or upcoming projects that you can talk to us about?
The most. Check it out. It's going to be a real podcast in October. And if you want to listen to all the back episodes since October of last year, it's on roosterteeth.com under the most. And we're live on Tuesdays for 1 whole hour. We scramble every week to make the podcast for that little amount of time. But we're coming to all listenable podcast platforms in October. And so we're doing this little podcast tour. So tell your friends and tell your neighbors and tell your enemies, because we definitely want to be on the air for more than a couple weeks, which is we'll be on at least for 3, we think, before ultimately getting canceled right now. But TBD. We're trying to get just enough viewers to get a sponsorship so that we can continue making episodes.
Maybe,
Thus feeding the beast. That's all we want to do. We just want to.
the
Hey,
art store.
Jerry's Artorama.
Hey,
We'd love to have you
hit it-
sponsored.
Yep.
But
hit
we're
us
not
up.
picky. Purple mattress. Come on, we don't care. Like I'm a shill. I'll do anything.
I mean, you got what's that beer that Brian Garr always shells that he loves so much?
Is it
Oh,
Something I know it's like Texas
Lone Star?
Lone Star. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
Hey,
I'm a
I'll
mod
tell-
for Brian Garr. I don't know if that you ever learned that, but
Hey, nice.
yeah, I gave him shit because I was like, wait a minute, you were supposed to be on the podcast like months ago, and like all these other people from Rooster Teeth are coming on.
We scooped him.
Yeah. Where can we find you online? On Twitch or Twitter.
Andrew, you're better. You're better at this one.
Well, you can find The Most at The Mostcast on Twitter, where we update mostly that Twitter handle is used for soliciting questions and letting people know what guests we're going to have on that week. And eventually when audio episodes will be dropping. And once that actually happens, we'll probably like post clips and stuff from the episodes and links to the episodes on that Twitter account. So follow us at The Mostcast. You can follow me on my personal Twitter at Mr. Andrew Rosas. Mr. Andrew
Saplin.
Rosas. Yeah.
Where you
So-
post your, honestly, you're a fantastic painter too. So if you like,
Oh,
painting,
thank you.
Like you can.
Thank you
there's
very much.
Good artwork on that Twitter.
I
Excellent.
appreciate that. Thank you. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, so
well,
you can check that out there as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely put all of this on our website and on the show notes and all of that.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So thank you guys for coming on. Thank you,
Sure.
Brent, David, Huck, Marcus, for coming on and talking to me about nerdy stuff all the time. I very much appreciate it.
Any
And-
day of the week.
And for all of you guys out there listening to us, we appreciate you for coming in. This is Geeks with Kids. Be excellent to each other, and we'll see you next time. Good.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidscn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.